What is up, guys? It's Greg here, the Vinyl Rundown channel, and today this is a contest for Michael at the channel called Noted and Archived. Maybe this is too loud over here. But I do want you to hear this music. You can also hear some saxophone being practiced in the other room. Anyway, Michael created a contest for his 500 subscribers. Congratulations, Michael. 2 weeks later, he's already up to 700, so he's growing fast. And Michael, one of the more interesting channels on the vinyl community because, well, he's a professional musician. He's very humble, soft-spoken. You wouldn't know that he's a major recording artist by listening to his channel necessarily because he doesn't talk about it that much. But he has a very wide and, what's that word? Eclectic taste in music. Whenever he shows records, I have not heard of the majority of them, but they're always intriguing groups that I want to get into. So Michael, a little too humble to tell us that he just got a recording contract with Deutsche Grammophon Records, which is a huge record company. And his group Balmoria is getting ready to do their first release soon. So good contest, Michael, because it's 5 easy questions and I don't have to pull that many records. Let's get into it. A record that you bought as a blind buy that you ended up liking, and just because of the cover, had to pick this up, had no idea what it was, what it meant. What is this? Is it music? It's bizarre. Spooky Rubin, Modes of Transportation. And that guy on the cover, that's not Spooky Rubin, that's some kind of a Russian astronaut. And getting notifications. Stop that phone. Okay. Spooky Rubin is, I think he's an LA-based singer-songwriter. And Modes of Transportation. Really like this record. It's very weird pop songs, let's say. Quirky and genre-defying, very produced pop songs. Each song in here, I think, has its own picture in the book. I think that's how this is supposed to work. Interesting artwork. So I think Wendy McDonald is one of the songs. So there's Wendy McDonald, obviously. And quirky artwork. If you like Devo, if you like They Might Be Giants, doesn't sound like them, but it's that level of quirky, nerdy weirdness. Spooky Rubin, still doing stuff in Los Angeles. Oh, okay. You're taking too long, Greg. Polar opposites. Pick some records that are polar opposites in your collection. On my globe, there are 3 poles, not 2 poles. That's a weird globe, but yeah. It's true. And I'm not choosing like fast music, slow music, loud music, soft music. I'm choosing something about the culture that went into the music. And I wanted to hear one of these records, so I gotta adjust this. Go back, go back. Where were you? Son of a... Don't look. Okay. Yeah, that's a record I'm gonna show in a second for this thing. So, polar opposite power structures in music. What does that mean? Let's go back all the way to the 1500s. The most heavy-duty power structure of the millennium. The Catholic Church created all this great choral music. And this is Thomas Tallis, probably the most famous choral composer. Let's see, he lived in the 1500s. It's also the Tallis Scholars who sing a lot of his stuff. Spaminalium, very famous piece of music by him. It was actually used in Shades of Grey. But maybe Michael can tell me. Maybe he's heard of this label. Gimel. Got 3 or 4 other discs at a Goodwill. All chorus music. Okay, so that's pole 1. The organization, the hierarchy, the power structure of the Catholic Church. Opposite end of the globe and the opposite type of power structure. American Indians, Native Americans, you Europeans call them First Nations. This is American Indian flute music. So very sort of sacred music. They're both sacred music, but sacred from a power structure with rigid rules and a rigid structure of and learning, and you have to go to college, and you have to go to seminary, and you have to read music, and you have to be the chosen by the Pope or whatever to have your music featured at certain events, and then just some guys playing the flute and ladies playing the flute in their prayer circle or whatever. This is a French release of American flute players. I showed this before when I got it, but opposite end of the spectrum. Is there another opposite? Are there three poles to the spectrum? Yes, what you're listening to now is this record. Tetsu Inoue and Carl Stone. The album is called Picked.Soul. And it's purposely written Picked.Soul because it's very much a part of the computer age. This is almost, I want to say random or aleatory music. I picked this up at the merch table when I saw Carl Stone play at the LA Angeles City Jazz Festival. It was Carl Stone, one of the two people on here, sitting at a table with nothing but a laptop computer and making this wild, random, weird, noisy music. You can hear the same piece over and over again. So the oppositeness of this is those are very organic, natural instruments, flutes. This is all computery and very much digital. Not digital recording so much as digital sound effects. It's almost as if they took a bunch of sound files and threw them in a blender, because a lot of these songs have no rhythm. It's just sort of a chopped up digital glitch rhythm, and the song titles all sound like computer programming terms. They all have symbols in them, like #.transparency, *.healthy, *RAM. So there's three poles in my bizarro universe. And Carl Stone, interesting guy. What's next? There's more. Most embarrassing record. This goes back to childhood. The first song I remember hearing on the radio and identifying, I was probably 3. Kind of a goofy song, a novelty song, if you will. Do you remember this? Winchester Cathedral, Winchester Cathedral. Kind of the old crooner style of the 1920s. The new vaudeville band. Somehow in the 60s, vaudeville from the 20s. Somebody found that hip at some point in the 60s, so. This is on Fontana Records, and check out the gangster outfits. They're all rocking back then. You guys remember this song? The crooner with a megaphone? That whole sound effect was before they created electric recording microphones and the acoustic 78 RPM recorder gramophones you had to like yell into, so they had the microphones. And the whole decade sounded like that. Then there's another album that I actually like better. I didn't get this record until, a couple years ago. I saw it at Goodwill. This next is the first record I ever bought with my own money. Walked up to the record store, probably 1974, something like that. Bought this with my own money because I had to take care of business. I had to be taken care of business. Bachman Turner Overdrive. Randy Bachman from the Guess Who, and somebody Turner from something. Who is he? C.F. Turner, Tim Bachman, Rob Bachman. So I had 3 Bachmans and 1 Turner. 3 plus 1. And this actually had a lot of good songs on it. Besides Taking Care of Business, Let It Ride, Give It Time. I liked all these songs. When I was a kid, and I had my first turntable, and I had 3 or 4 Beatles records, and a Jimi Hendrix record, and this, as a budding record collector, I totally dug that sound of that heavy-duty sound. I didn't know what that was. I had an electric guitar. I went to the guitar store, and I said, I need to sound like BTO. I need one of those reverb units. I really meant distortion units. They thought I was crazy. my guitar without reverb or distortion sounded pretty crappy on my $25 Sears Silvertone amp that I wish I had. Paid 25 bucks for it. Okay, what else? Okay, so those are embarrassing. BTO. And Randy Bachman, actually an accomplished musician, singer, songwriter. He likes jazz. He has good taste in music. He just, I saw him play in St. Louis, and they came out in these leather jackets that were bursting because of too much body fat. That was like weird. And then the amplifiers blew up in like the second song. They declared the thing it was over. People stormed out, threw chairs, broke things. And I was like 11. I was terrified. My first riot was at a BTO concert. There's more to this insanity. Okay, that's embarrassing. Is that the next question? Okay. Oh, most listened to stuff. What's that? Most listened to. I've said a million times that Abbey Road is my all-time most listened to album back in that period of the early 70s. But to get me through the COVID, this is the record that I put on repeat and listened to many, many times on CD. We're back to CDs. Vikingur Olafsson is a Icelandic piano player who just burst onto the scene in the last couple of years and won all kinds of awards with this record, Johann Sebastian Bach. Check this out, pick it up on CD or LP, put it on repeat, and just let it go. And there's something about his touch and his tonality that is awesome. I did a record review just of this record, and I had his music video playing in the background just like this, and the frickin' people at Deutsche Grammophon or Universal Music Group copyright hit my video because this was playing. It said there's a video, not a sound copyright. So Michael, can you talk to your buddies at Deutsche Grammophon and get them to uncopyright my video, please? Okay, that was the most listened to of the year, but the most listened to of the last couple weeks is something I just got in the mail because late Christmas, everything from Blue Note and Universal Music Group is late because their shipping is whacked out. Ron Miles, is that his name? Yeah, Ron Miles. Yeah, like Miles. He's got a Miles and Miles, but his name is Ron. Trumpet player on Blue Note. This record got on some people's top 10, top 20 lists for last year. And check out the artwork. Very hip for a jazz record. And okay, so you've got what is starting to look like the Blue Note house band on here. Bill Frisell on guitar, who I absolutely love. I've seen many times. Brian Blade on drums, who I absolutely love. Only seen once. Jason Moran on piano, keyboards. Just picked up one of his CDs today. Thomas Morgan on bass. I don't know that well, but he's an acoustic bass player. So, interesting record. Been playing this a lot lately. The amount of records I've got in the last couple months, and I've only had a chance to listen to some of them. There's more. There's more questions on this thing. We're still going. How can 5 questions take 15 minutes, Greg? First VC channel you ever got into. I can't remember her name. This lady in Germany, she talked about ECM, and I was really into, ECM. She has a record store in Germany, and she paints paintings out of coffee grounds. Anybody remember her name? I have no idea. That's one of the first VC channels that I got into. But prior to that, my son got me all into YouTube because of this guy, Rick Beato. Rick Beato, All Things Music. You guys should definitely subscribe to him, especially if you're like a little more advanced in music, like you play an instrument. I started watching him when he was at 300,000. Now he's at 2 million subscribers. Talks about all things music, rock, classical, jazz, music theory, recording technique, the music business. He had a Grammy-winning record. He's taught jazz and classical and has a great studio in Georgia. Interviews a lot of big-name people. But if you haven't heard him before, he does this thing called What Makes This Song Great, and he tears apart a song, like not quite note for note, but he somehow gets a hold of the original 8 or 16 tracks from famous songs, so he can isolate the tracks and analyze them and say, okay, for these four bars, the drummer's doing this, and check out the reverb they used here, and check out the Lydian mode they used here. Just, even if you're not a musician, check out the ones he did for songs that you might like. Okay, what else? Most recent channels. I make it a point to subscribe to every single Vinyl Community channel I can find. So there's too many of you. But recently I did a shout out to people and encouraged newbies to make their first video. So D, Adventures with D, formerly known as Danielle Requa. Hope that's right. And Jadicus and JT something. I can't remember these guys. Maybe I'll put them in the show notes because I can't remember all this stuff. Can you say I've had too much coffee? I think I've blabbled, is that a word? Blabbled on along for enough here. So thank you for watching. Thank you to Michael. Congratulations to hitting 700 subscribers. Congratulations on getting a record contract with a major, important record label. And don't forget to subscribe, hit the like button, hit notifications, turn them on. Also do the same for Michael over at Noted and Archive, and we can't wait to hear his new record when it comes out in a couple months. And maybe I have a surprise for you after this.